Welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. On behalf of the greater building management team and the building owners, I'm Sarah Dowd, the General Manager here at the Freshwater Place Commercial Towers. And I firstly want to thank our tenants for the incredibly encouraging, engaging and supportive manner in which we have endured the past 8 months of challenges and changes. Whilst the buildings have been open and operational during this time, many of our familiar faces have been working remotely. It's wonderful to see that start of a return to the workplace and plans for increasing occupancy. I truly believe 2021 is going to be a really wonderful year together. There is a resilience and positivity in our clients that is inspiring. We're excited to see our business community starting to come together and re-emerge. We actually look forward to seeing you in person. Whilst I love these e-meetings, nothing beats actually seeing a smile face to face. The in-person brainstorming, the organic knowledge transfer, mentoring, reinforcement of company culture are a few of the factors of what our tenants are saying that they've noted that they've missed by being in their commercial workplaces, which can really help them thrive. And we'll hear a little bit more about that today. Today, we are most fortunate to have 3 expert panelists. We're going to talk about, your workplace design usage, safe tenant facility management, and the transforming and reopening of our loved Melbourne city. I'll first start by introducing Madison Stevenson, the lead designer for Creo Design Group, to hear more on a live case study basis of items to consider in reoccupation on site. So over to you, Madison.
Thanks, Sarah. So good morning, everyone. I'll be speaking about the adaptive workplace. So obviously the pandemic has changed the way that we come together to work within a commercial space. And there's been a few changes in the pattern of daily interaction, physical distancing, and the increase of sanitisation stations. So some of the impacts of commercial design and spatial planning are enforced and strict illness policies, an increase in office cleaning, providing hand cleaning sanitisers, physical distancing, so an increase of distances between work and workstations, new hygiene standards for the bathrooms, elimination or strategy behind sharing desks, greater mobility and virtual work support, open working environment, town hall collaboration and open meeting rooms. So we put together a case study of our office actually, so Creo and NPM, which is located at 2 South Bank Boulevard. So we've applied the new COVID-19 workplace metric guidelines of 4 metres squared per person and 1.5 distance between each other. So as you can see here, we put together a heat map legend, which shows high touch areas, which is located in the red, frequently used rooms by multiple people, so meeting rooms and collaboration zones. And then we put the personal use in blue, which is predominantly your workstations. We put together some options of touchless design, which we think that will be here forever. So we've put secure entry, the sensor-mounted door, hand sanitizer stations, which we've located throughout the office, a sign-in station for visitors and staff, an automated tap. So this is just some of the images that we put together of the implementation that we put throughout our office. We've got the signage and automated door at entry. We've got a front of house sign-in station. We've got 1.5 distance between meeting rooms and collaboration zones. We've got the workspace, which we put 1.5 distance between staff and the incorporation of side screens. So we've got a kitchen breakout zone, which shows distance breakout seating. And we've got our kitchen, which is an installation of automated soap dispenser and touchless tap. So that's it from me. Thank you, guys.
So thank you, Madison, for sharing sort of some of those great ideas and your experience. If any of our tenants would like to connect with Madison, us know, because it may be, that discussing what your workplace and some of the items that Madison has incorporated may be what you need. And different tenants are at different stages of their planning. So this is a good thing to just get you thinking about your space. So next I will introduce Ned Joklovic.
Joloshevich. Nice go, Sarah.
Workplace Services Manager for JLL. He's going to highlight some of the practical considerations for our tenants when they're considering their facility management of their tenancies. So thank you very much, Ned.
Thank you very much for that, Sarah. So, just quick introduction. My name is Ned Joloshevich, and I'm the Workplace Services Manager for our Workplace Services division here. We work alongside tenants for their facility management requirements, their day-to-day ad hoc maintenance tasks. It's evident to see that COVID has had a massive impact on the way we go about our day-to-day business and even our personal lives, from going to, a shopping centre and having to wear a mask, to going to your local, cafe or restaurant, hairdresser, in my case, barber, to sign in and leave your details for tracking purposes. And it's no different in the workplace as well. So in the workplace, we've assisted a lot of our tenants with some re-entry considerations. And I'll just go through the list of some of the things that we've assisted in implementing across our portfolio. And the first one is signage. So floor decals, non-slip floor decals that remind tenants to keep their 1.5 metre distancing. Hygiene signages, just as an educational piece to tenants to remind them to practice safe hygiene. And occupancy maximum level signage as well. And these are generally applied to meeting rooms to alert tenants that there's only a particular number of people allowed in a particular meeting room at any given point in time. And to complement these meeting rooms, we've also provided COVID safe packs. And in these COVID safe packs, they consist of antibacterial wipes, gloves, and hand sanitizing bottles as well, just to ensure that the area is sanitized for the next user. In the open workspace, we've seen the installation of sneeze screens that act as a partition barrier between workstations and the actual reception desk as well. At our more higher-end premium assets, we've seen the installation of new technology, such as antimicrobial film, copper film, which kills the actual bacteria. And this is applied to high-touch areas, such as door handles, meaning that you don't have to have that high-touch cleaning by your cleaners routine as often. Another new technology that's come out is temperature stations. Now, these are installed at reception areas for staff and visitors, where they scan your face, take your temperature, and it's also interfaced with a QR code sign-in system for a touchless experience for the user. Now, a lot of these products, and this is just a little list of what I mentioned now, there's a whole lot of products that are out there, and this can be quite daunting for somebody that's been given the task of developing a COVID management plan for their respective workspace. That's where Workplace Services have engaged our risk consultants, Interisk, to help tenants develop a COVID occupancy management plan. Now, what they do is they go into a workspace, meet with the tenants, see what the dynamics are of that workspace, and then develop some recommendations and a COVID management plan for that workspace. Now, once this plan is developed, it's a good introduction and induction back into the workplace to be distributed to your staff, so they know exactly what the new norm is within their workspace, and also they're reassured that it's been thought through by a professional. And just moving on the list to the next slide. Now, upon re-entry, obviously there's going to be a lot of products and assets that haven't been maintained, such as, I'll give a couple of examples, a billy unit in your kitchenette that would have been turned off because no one's going to be using it, so you would have stopped servicing that unit, and there might be some lights out within the area. And these are sort of items that, ad hoc and maintenance items that you only know of once you re-enter the workspace. But one major item that I highly recommend that every workplace do is a COVID deep clean. Now, this is a budget line item that has impacted every business, obviously. And with this, a lot of the re-entry strategies that I've worked on, tenants have factored in a price working with their cleaning suppliers to supply a COVID deep clean prior any kind of reoccupation back into the workspace. And a lot of cleaning companies offer this service, but also offer a certificate to certify that the area has been cleaned, sanitised to a food grade standard as well. So you get a certificate at the end of it. And this is also another peace of mind factor that can be given to your staff. And I just want to wrap up with saying that with any kind of risk assessment in the area, it's always good to refer back to the DHHS and Safe Work Australia for their guidelines, and just to keep up to date with that and involve your COVID safe plan accordingly. That's all from me, and thank you very much, Sarah. Back to you.
Now, the final speaker I am really excited to hear about. I love Melbourne. I'm a Melbourne girl at heart, and I don't think you could pull that out of me. So we're going to hear from John Cunningham, who's the Head of Urban Spaces at Melbourne City Council, and his team, and the active steps that they're going about reopening our city. So over to you.
Good morning, Sarah, Ned, Madison, and all at Freshwater Place. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to talk to you all. PwC report commissioned by the City of Melbourne says in the next 5 years we're going to hemorrhage about 80,000 jobs per year and about $110 billion hit to the economy. There's Brook Street in the time of lockdown. It's virtually empty. So some of the things we've done, we've put in 42 Ks of additional bike lanes. We've got cleaning teams. You've seen them all out. We've put out a lot of retail businesses. We're reimagining our little streets. We're expanding our outdoor area. We're reactivating about 110 vacant shops. We're working with Metro and Yarra Trams to reduce costs and off-site and off-peak travel. We suspended all fees. We just launched our Christmas. We're trying to revitalize our laneways. We reimagined events, and we've made a pledge with some of the major businesses in town to try to get 75% of our workforce back in, because they buy their coffees, they buy their lunches, they go shopping, and also it's a human interaction we need back in the city. So this is the money side of it. So we've put in 17.6 million out on small business grants, 4.6 in event partnership grants, 6.8 in creative city grants, 2.2 in community grants, 9 million in creative laneways program, 100 million on the Melbourne City Recovery Plan with the state government. That's just over 140 million the city has invested in the last couple of months to try to keep us afloat and also to keep Melbourne Melbourne. So in the creative industries and the hospitality sector, so the creative industries adds 31 billion to the Victoria and Melbourne economy, and actually is about 8% of the entire workforce. And that actually does support over 1,200 small bars, SMEs in the CBD. We've got a 24-hour economy. That's people who go to your cinema, your gigs, your theatres, your galleries, and so on and so forth. So when we were looking at one project I'm going to talk to you very briefly about is the laneways, to reimagine our laneways. For example, Hosier Lane gets 1.45 million visitors per year. That's more than the State Library or Acme. And street artists don't get paid, but they refer to it as, their idea is a gift economy to the city. And again, it makes Melbourne world famous. So we got money from the state government to really actually to draw people back to the city and to see people reflected in their own city. So it's working for Victoria Fund. So there's 7.6 million from the state government and 1.4 contributed by the City of Melbourne. And essentially is to employ 156 people, to renew 40 CBD laneways on a very loose east-west axis, to commission sort of art, music, and lighting, to have this great kind of narrative and acoustic and visual narratives as we go through the city, and to interact with our Little Streets and Eat Streets projects, and to draw people back. So this is some of the things we're doing currently: the cycle streets, the Eat Streets, the Little Streets. There's a myriad of different things, but they're all now in implementation. And this one we're doing is Westwood Lane, and I just wanted to illustrate Westwood Lane because it really reflects what Melbourne means to Melburnians. Westwood Place is quite a difficult area. It's where the Salvation Army is. It's a place of great social issues. There are a stakeholder group there of 31 people. That's for everybody from the Salvation Army, the police, Hassel, the Cherry Bar, Magic Mountain, and so on and so forth. And they've all got together and say, how can we reimagine this? And the wonderful thing about Westwood Place, it is at the very top near Spring Street between Burke Street and Little Collins. Little Collins is being reimagined with these parklets, which I think you see around the city. We've taken away about 1/3 of all on-street parking, so that restaurants can actually extend out onto the footpath. We've also issued more on-street permits, and all for free, than we have done collectively in the last 10 years. Also, the top of Burke Street, again, between Exhibition and Spring, will be actually transformed into a dining area. So no traffic will go there. The tram will still go up. Again, Westwood Place intersects that. And this is this kind of thing that kind of looks like what you can expect. Again, this is on the left, you'll see how Westwood Place looks now. Again, great social issues. It's kind of going to look like that next month as we reimagine it. So again, what we're doing is, in a time of COVID, in a time of challenge, you have to stare at yourself and say, what does Melbourne mean to Melburnians? And I think we're going to come out of this a better community, a closer community, and a better city. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. I, for one, am looking forward to, I guess, inspecting Melbourne like a visitor would, and actually seeing the changes. I must admit, even just driving around Melbourne out of my 5K zone, I'm really amazed at just seeing new things pop up. So it's going to just be remarkable for us and our tenants to really, walk through the streets of Melbourne. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to all the hard work that your team is putting in. Now, we've got some common themes of some of the questions that our tenants have sort of spoken to us about. And one of them is that there are some positives that have come out of this period. And I think that's a good thing to look at. So I'd ask the panelists if they'd like to sort of have a think about and contribute to, what are the positive things that have come out of this period, and what may be permanent in sort of your field or generally?
Well, I can start there, Sarah. I think just reiterating the touchless options that I spoke about implementing into the office in terms of hand sanitizer stations, billy units, taps, sensor mount, and just sanitize stations throughout the general office and the general hygiene of the office, which I think will be implemented and around forever.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Sarah, I think it's the long-anticipated work-life balance that's been forced upon us from an unfortunate event, obviously from COVID. But I think people are appreciating the flexibility of working from home, and with the assistance of technology advancements, has created a new dynamic in the workforce. And I think this is going to be around for a long time to come.
Yeah, Netta, I would kind of second that. For me, there's I live in the Inner East, and for the first time, I have a great sense of community. I know all the guys in the 7-Eleven. I know Mamma Maria in the pizzeria. I just know all my neighbors, and it's like a village. But also, it reaffirms that working from home and that work-life balance is essential. So work-life balance is really important, but actually working from home can actually work. So I think there's going to be a shift in this. But I can tell you that my team and I have never worked harder. And I'm a pretty lazy person, but I've never worked harder in the last 9 months, really. So I always see positives and challenges. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting.
I think also how people kind of view their time in their sort of commercial offices is going to change, because they're really going to thrive in terms of networking and brainstorming and coming together as a team. Again, whilst it's great doing these e-meetings, there is that human element that happens when you do see each other face to face. So I think there's going to be a real blend. So, whether people come in every day, and obviously with occupancy at 25%, and which will increase, people will be more flexible. But, the heart of your workplace, will be your sort of central office. So, it's exciting to see those people coming back into our community, because we feel like our area is our village as well. So, it's very exciting. So I guess easing back into life, and, Melbourne's had a different experience than the other cities, and seeing the corporates coming back. What do you think their experience is going to be like from now until, say, early next year?
I might just jump in. Look, I think it's going to be a conservative approach. It'll be a stage-by-stage process, but I think majority of the workforce anticipating that re-entry in the early year, and I think people are looking forward to getting back into the workplace as well and balancing their work-life schedule, and just seeing their colleagues again and interacting with them. I think that's something that you can't substitute with technology and web conferences, and the face-to-face communication is very sought after.
I can jump in, and I foresee full capacity at some stage having to come back, in terms of, especially for me, working in design and collaborating. It's been great. I'm obviously back at the office. We have a small team here, but just the chance to be back, to be with the team, to bounce off ideas, to hear separate conversations, I've really missed within the last however many months it's been. So I think the implementation of people coming back, we need to get back to full capacity at some stage, because to be in the office kind of where the magic happens.
Well, I can concur with that, Madison. For example, I met with one of my staff members for the first time in 8 months last week in the city. He's about 6'11", but he's been about 3 centimeters from me. And I was just sitting watching him going down the street and going, I'd forgotten how big he was. The City of Melbourne has made a pledge with some of the CEOs as well across the major corporates in town to return 75% of the staff as soon as possible. I'd mentioned that before, again, because they help drive the economy, but also as, the branded capital city, we have to, mean what we say. So, getting back. So I'm looking forward to getting back. Like you, Madison, I miss sort of watching my crew argue all the time. Makes me very happy. But that human interaction, going back to the city, I think it was for the first time in July, after the second lockdown. It took me 45 minutes to get a coffee. And I had to go to a kiosk, which I'd never been before. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I haven't had a decent coffee in months.
I love the coffee at work. That's been wonderful to get a decent coffee as well, John. And I guess, we're all humans and we've all got lives. So, work's a very important part of my life, but my greater community is very important. So I guess, considering everything that's happened, how do you see the sort of wider community and your families all sort of coming together again? Are there any sort of, highlights or things that you're looking forward to? If you can note that'd be great.
It's kind of strange. I feel I've been institutionalized to the house. And then when I went out to meet friends for the first time, it was really awkward. And I just seemed to be having the same conversation with everybody, unwind. And there was no advance in that conversation. We've gone through this thing collectively. We've proved that we are the exemplar of the world and try how to do this. There's a wonderful op-ed in the New York Times recently about it. Greg Sutton is now advising the European Union of what they can do. So I think we'll look back at this and saying, yeah, this is kind of our world war, and we got through it. And again, there's an old saying from Nietzsche, the philosopher Nietzsche, which is when you stare into the abyss stares back into you. And we looked at ourselves in the mirror, and it was difficult, but we saw our character and our collective character. So I think that Melbournians will come out of this. We're going to take the mantle. We're going to be the best city in the world, and we're never going to relinquish it.
No, I did joke. I went for my first lunch yesterday, and I'm a bit of a foodie, so that was really exciting. But I felt like I'd been in some sort of white collar crime institution as well, John. So it was actually amazing being out and that energy and that experience. So that's just really what I've missed. And as much as I love my family, you do need that greater community around you. I want to extend a very warm thank you, to our guest panelists. I also want to say a special thank you to Tracy Bazant, our Customer Relationship Manager, for her work in putting together today. And I look forward to sharing this edit with you all. I hope you have a very wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing your smiling faces very soon. So
thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Ned.
Thanks, Sarah.
Awesome.
Thank
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.